Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvel Cast Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Morgan Le Fay and Split Second. My name's Ashley Hubley, your guide down the Witch's Road, and joining me today is the astonishing Dylan Blight.
I don't know what. I was trying to work out what witch-related character I would turn into if I into this trial this week.
But they're all from Disney properties.
Are they there?
I
Because like
guess,
I'm
no.
pretty sure one of them's from.
I was going to say
Lion, the
they're
Witch,
all
and the
from the Wizard of
Wardrobe.
Oz, right? But no, they're not.
No, they're not. So
I know. I think they nailed at least the big three.
So it seems like some weird cross marketing to me, but you know, who am I?
Could
to
be. Smart, maybe. You know. Although, no, Wicked is done by Universal, I want to say, not Disney. So,
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. Yeah, actually.
So, amusing anyway. Today we're talking about the latest episode of Agatha All Along, Death's Hand in Mind, directed by Jac Schaeffer, written by Gia King and Cameron Squires. Those who remain suffer the hand they are dealt in the next trial. See what they did there?
Very good.
Yeah. Tell them what you think of this week's episode of Agatha All Along.
Yeah, it was definitely. I think it's the best episode we've had so far. Very interesting use of time. Well, they did it in Loki. What they call it? Time. I don't know. Whatever they call it. They did the Loki thing, but you know, slightly different. Where they're like falling through time and whatever else. I thought that was very cool. Very cool. Probably one of the better performances we've had in the show in a whole. I thought this was the only week where I was probably invested outside, I guess, of the premiere episode. I would say this is the only week where I've been like invested in the episode from start to finish without ever having a dull moment or sort of zoning out for a little bit, because I have found that I feel like the episodes have been a little bit inconsistent, but overall this one hit the nail on the head, I think.
Yep, definitely one of the strongest episodes of the season. I don't know. I enjoyed last week's episode a lot just because, it filled in a lot of backstory and that kind of stuff. But yeah, obviously, people experiencing time out of order is not an uncommon trope that we've seen in genre television or film, But I think it's executed really well here, and it's a cool reveal as to... Obviously, we'd seen Lydia. Is that right?
I don't know the character names.
Lilia. Have like weird moments throughout the entire series, and then for it all to come together in this episode was really cool. So, and of course, like the aesthetics and the costume and everything was really cool this week. I know nothing about tarot, but clearly that all worked out. But yes, let's jump in. Obviously, we open with Agatha and Billy coming across a castle. Inside, they are garbed as the Wicked Witch of the West and Maleficent, and presented with tarot cards. If they don't place the pro cards in the correct sequence, swords start hanging from the ceiling, start to fall down. Cool setup. Interesting. I enjoyed Agatha's like, we'll just wing it and just sticking cards all over the place. I'm pretty sure if we were in that situation, we would be very, very fucked. Mostly because we don't know how tarot works. But also,
at first I was like, this is a dumb challenge. Like tarot cards are,
dumb.
Like I was like, what's the thing here? But then by the end of the episode, you're like, oh, it's like you needed the whole thing about the road is having one witch for every challenge, basically. So.
But yeah, aesthetically, very cool. Like the imagery of the swords falling from the ceiling, and then later the ceiling kind of
looks like something out of a Saw movie, Saw Trap.
Yeah, Saw Trap. They seem to have infinite swords up there. I mean, to me, the trick would be to try and find a spot where the swords won't fall. But I guess they could have angled at certain points up there. You just can't tell.
There did seem to be enough room that you could probably just
Or once there's enough swords down, like you start to build like a roof of swords. You know what I mean? Or you use the swords to hit away the other swords.
Or you just, I don't know. Was there a table they were playing on, or they could just?
They were playing on a table. I guess you get under the table.
Yeah.
Although the swords went pretty far into the chairs that they were sitting on. So
true.
So while this is all happening, it turns out that Lilia and Jen didn't die when they were blasted by Billy into the mud and appeared in some sort of underground cavern. Lilia is experiencing her time, I don't know, dissolution, I want to say. It sounds like the correct word. I can't remember.
But you know what I mean? Like, it was a thing.
Locke used a very similar thing.
Yeah.
So we get to see her experiencing moments throughout the show from previous interactions. Like, she says, she's like, you need to, don't save Agatha or something. It's like, save Agatha. She's shouting it at Agatha instead of to Jen at one point. I think the most interesting part of all this flashback is we flash back to her days in Sicily, I think it is, with her original coven as a small child, talking to her teacher. Obviously, her being centuries older, but embodying the body of a young child, learning witchcraft for the first time and kind of having this conversation with her mentor about, just have a good reading tea leaves, or, what was the point of all this when, this coven was like wiped out by a fever or whatever. So, I thought that was really interesting backstory. And then kind of obviously this is like written really well because I think one of the key things is like Jen is like, oh, we're cool with Billy at one point. He's like, I don't understand why we're cool with Billy. And then you cut back to when they reveal how they first came into the room. Like, oh, we're cool. So, yeah,
It is weird, but like when it flashback a scene and you'd see like everyone's in the room, like, where the fuck did all these people come from? But
yeah. Yeah, just did a really cool job of like piecing it all together. I'm sure it was a fun like brain exercise, and there's probably like a room with red string all over the place, as you expect, putting this one together. But yeah, obviously super effective, and we get to the end of the trial. Lily, after believing that the traveler or the person they're reading the tarot for was Billy, it's actually Lily herself reading her own, I don't know, life story, I guess. And also, the other interesting tidbit was each time she would play the correct tarot card down, we would flash back to a previous point where the tarot card symbol would be either in some sort of imagery, like whether it's like there was like I think three swords or something was one of them, and there's like three swords in the background of a shot or forefront of a shot, or like see there's the two pentagrams or something like that, which was on the eviction notice. So obviously she was getting all these signs all this time. And it leads up to eventually her sacrificing herself so the others can leave, and she faces off against the Salem 7 who have been chasing them through the tunnels into the trial. She says it's really fucked up what happens after we leave these trials. We don't know what happens. And she reverses the tower, and the tower flips. Everybody crashes down onto the sword's roof / I guess now floor. Lilia holds onto the table as long as she possibly can before eventually falling to her own, we believe, demise. But then the show cuts to her again as a child. So,
I mean, the thing is also, if you're living your life like that, when did you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
Like your time, if time is not relative, then she could have died
like
at the
Clara, from Doctor Who. She was pulled out the moment before she was going to die. Now she can do a bunch of cool adventures before, and then she just has to at some point be implanted back into that point in history.
Yeah. So yeah.
She can have this cool life living before she watches her whole coven get killed by fever.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was thinking like for all we know, literally the first time she ever like had a time slip was seeing her in death. So
yeah, maybe that would be an interesting idea. Like, she had these time slips early on, and she didn't realize time slip is probably the correct terminology. That sounds. Now that I think about it,
I just made it up.
yeah,
maybe it's coming back to
me. She would just disappear. It all had gaps early on. Now she had it all kind of pieced together in this final moment. The other reveal from this episode, which I guess has been spoiled previously, Rio is death.
I feel like I've said it every week on this show.
Yeah, just confirmed. I don't know that changes much. Does that change anything?
No.
About how you feel?
It's a weird reveal. I'm like, why don't we are like
what does it matter?
Set up as a bad guy the entire show, or like as at least in the like as much as a bad guy as we're supposed to take Agatha as, I guess. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know how this changes or does it. Like, am I now supposed to view her as more of a threat, more of a bad guy? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, I was just like, okay, whatever. She looked cool with the mask and everything. You're not gonna make me like hate. Like, I can't treat Aubrey Plaza as a. You're not gonna make me hate Aubrey Plaza. Is all I'm saying. You know?
She would have to kill a lot of people, but then it's her job. So
yeah. So I don't know.
So yeah. So what are you expecting for next week's 2-episode season finale?
Well, they got one more trial, as I was saying. Like, I feel like we just get one more trial. I don't know. Surely.
True.
The Green Witch, right?
I guess, yeah.
That's the whole thing, I think.
So they need to work with her for their final trial.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's where we're at. So Green Witch trial, last trial, however that plays out, and then one episode to, I don't know, yeah, whatever we're doing with the wrap up of this.
Yeah,
their wishes or whatnot.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Do you think that's the last we see of the Salem 7, or are they just going to rip themselves off their swords?
I'm fine with them being gone. We got enough going on.
Yeah,
they're
kind of the least interesting element.
Yep.
Of this show.
But at the same time, I'm like,
I mean, that's
whatever,
kind of the purpose. They're like try to be this impending force from the other. So, any other final thoughts on this week's episode?
No, I thought it was really good. As I'm saying, Patti LuPone had a great performance. Have you seen that story of her? Aubrey Plaza shared about her.
I know that they live together, which is wild.
Yeah, so I would highly suggest...
Patti LuPone is a Broadway legend.
Yes, so I would highly suggest... I can't remember what talk show it was on, but there's a clip recently where Aubrey Plaza was on show, and she got asked about what it was like living with Patti LuPone, and she tells this story. I'm going to spoil it, and she'll tell a lot better. But basically, the story is that she is feeling sick or whatever, and Patti LuPone goes out, and Patti LuPone is like, I'll get my doctor in to come help you. And the doctor comes in and was like, now, do you want some like vitamins and shit? Or do you want some of the like what Patti's on to help you? And she's like, give me the Patti special. And then like injects her with like all this shit that she's like, whatever. And then she like starts freaking out. And then Patti comes home and is like, God, no, what's going on? And then basically Aubrey Plaza nearly dies because she takes whatever fucking Patti LuPone's doctor takes to put her to sleep at night. Yeah. So I suggest checking out that. It was a funny little story. But yeah, apparently they lived together for a while. So yeah, very funny. Yeah, I've been watching also some interviews they've been doing. Those two are like paired up on the in the round seats and stuff. Very funny together. So.
All right, let us know what you thought of this week's episode of Agatha All Along by going to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter or to jump into our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support. Alright, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you watch next week's episode of Agatha All Along and join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.